Hello, you. Thank you for joining me for my very first cooking video on Rossipes. My name is Michael T. Scafidi. I'm going to be showing you how I make my very low-carb chicken burgers. And you'll be surprised at some of the ingredients. I'm not going to lie, I need a little help in the seasoning department. So maybe you guys can offer me some help. But without further ado, let's do a little video magic. Poof! All right, here are all the ingredients that you're going to need. All right, so you're gonna want a bowl, of course. What cooking recipe is without? I have 2 onions. These are yellow onions. They have ginormous ones at Costco. Look, and I'm not getting, there's no paid advertisements here. I'm just being honest. Why not? When in Rome. These are eggs, of course. I'm not using the yolks for this recipe, surprisingly enough, because that's where like all the cholesterol is, and we're trying to make something healthy. So 2 eggs. This is the taco seasoning that I'm using, and it's low in salt is the one that I grab. Although I'm telling you, it needs a pizzazz of some sort. I'm curious what you guys are gonna say. I throw a dash of garlic in. All of us have had these black bean burgers, so I'm putting in 2 cans of black beans. These are whole beans. A little zapadoo of olive oil. Now, some olive oil tastes better than others. This one here from Trader Joe's, stop the band. Okay, I mean, it tastes great. Dip it in bread, little Parmesan cheese, balsamic, you know the to-do, and then just some little pepper. And of course, I have some lean ground chicken. And if you guys are on a budget, this is very affordable when you're in the meat department. I think they're like $3.50, give or take some change at Aldi. But I'm gonna use, these are 2 containers, which is 1 pound. So we're making 2 pounds. I'm doing a prep because when I work, I take a lunch. We're all trying to make a dollar holler. Who are we kidding here? But I'll show you a little bit about how I prep this in a second. So the first thing I recommend is kind of doing like the labor-intensive stuff, which is cutting the onion. Is my microphone covered? Always learning, always learning. Okay, it's there. Hopefully you can hear me. So not all of us are Julia Child when it comes to cutting onions. And it's funny, I saw a chef next to her. God forgive me, I don't know his name. She like could ransack, cut those onions after doing a lot of her schooling at the Cordon Bleu in France, which is where she learned how to cook and kind of got us all encouraged to start cooking from home and making really exquisite cuisines. But this is a little trick. If you cut your onion in half, let's see if I can give you a little more movie magic. Zoom in. And if you cut on the side like so, and of course there are many different ways to cut an onion. You got your onion rings, you've got minced, you've got diced. I'm not really quite sure what this is. I want to say it's chopped. But if you just take it on the side after making those horizontal cuts, you get some really fine cutting. And you know what? If somebody told me if you chew gum, it helps with the eyes watering. I don't think that's true. I don't know what to tell you. I'm tearing up here. So I'm going to go in front of the fan for a minute and I will come back and I'll dice these and all this is going to be diced beautifully. I just thought maybe you guys might want a little tip on, a good way to chop onions without having to survey it. And my knives, P.S., are duller than dull because I don't really want to go to the emergency room. Any tips with the eye watering? Just put them in the comments. My Sicilian grandmother would kick me in my gulu, as she would say. But yeah, this is parsley. So just give me a minute. Okay, I'm gonna chop a little parsley. You gotta add parsley. It's not. You can opt it if you want, but it's good. And if you don't like my cooking, I break your head. Okay, had a moment to recover. So, some people just pick the leaves off as kind of the professional way. I kind of like the way this dog tastes myself. So I'm just cutting a good bushel off here. A good way to store this, and this is from Rachel Ray, is if you take the parsley and actually put it in a little thing of water like you would some flowers. Keeps it nice and fresh, and probably not the leaves turning a little yellow like they are here, but I go through a lot of parsley, just because my Sicilian grandmother, especially pasta dishes, I mean, meatballs, it was like one of the main ingredients. Not too many ingredients actually back in those days, but it's just a handful, and I'm just gonna plop that right in there. I'm gonna show you a little trick with this. So for your egg whites, all you're gonna do, and you guys are probably, there are little containers and things, but you just, you cut it and you crack the egg and try to get it as good a half as you can. And some people just use their hand, but you just kind of dee-dee-dee, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. And then you're just putting the egg white in the mixture. And really the purpose of that is to hold everything together. So we can discard the yolk. You can use it for another dish if you like. I'm just trying to be conscious of cholesterol and things. So just trying to make this as healthy as possible. So we're just going to put some egg white in here. And dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. And then it's done. Ta-da! Okay, now, how do we stop the camera when your hand is all full of yolks? All right, 1 second here. Ooh. Ah! Of black beans, I just drained them, so nothing fancy here. This is just going to add a little bit more protein. So we got 1 and 2. And then we're going to put in the old chicken. Put that right in there. 1 and 2. And now a little seasoning. Again, this is no muss, no fuss. Although, there's got to be some way to season this a little better, I think. And then I just add a little pepper, a little garlic powder, shake it like a dog, as Robin Williams would say, and then just a little skosh of olive oil. All right, and here is a fascinating trick. So your mashed potato masher actually has more than one purpose, kids. You're darn tootin'. You can really get in there, and let's get in there, shall we? I know it doesn't look too fabulous now, but I mean, you kind of get the process. This is really gonna mince everything up. So you're also gonna be kind of smashing some of those black beans, not to worry. And we're gonna get all of these onions incorporated. Those egg whites are going to work together. A lot of people question this because breadcrumbs is, as you know, gluten, and gluten has scientific properties. So I know everything's shaking, the phone's shaking, the table's shaking. Hold on, everybody. You kind of get the idea. But really, the eggs are going to hold everything together, those egg whites. So you don't have to worry about it. The consistency will be a little bit different than if you were to add breadcrumbs. But the truth of the matter is, they're going to come out pretty much the same way with less carbs. And, that's what we're all trying to do right now. We're doing substitutions. So we're trying to make things still taste the same, even though we're kind of trying to be a little bit healthier. But you kind of get the gist of this. I'm going to go through it a little bit more, and I'll bring out a pan or 3 and show you how I prep this. Another little quick tip. If you were in hospitality, you probably know what this is. This is called a crummer. It's like a little snowplow for the table. But it's a real easy way to get all of these goodies off. If you want to be fancy and impress your friends, the real way is to go around and scoop it up and then put it in. But when we're at home, we don't have to be so formal. You don't need to get one of these. When we couldn't find ours, a butter knife, still does the trick. To use parchment paper, you really don't have to do much to it. Aluminum, you know, sometimes you move things, you flip things, and a little piece of aluminum could possibly be ingested, which this just goes right in, doesn't stick. It's not wax paper, otherwise that will melt. I'm actually grabbed 2 more cooking dishes here, which I'm going to apply the paper to. But another good trick, so your hands don't get all full of meat mince, if you will. You can get, I buy these from the dollar store, but they have latex gloves there for pretty affordable. And these come in like a pack of 100. And, you know, you got to give them a little persuasion on the end to open them. But they work really great. You just plop everything in there and just take them off when you're done, and no muss, no fuss. So I'm just gonna do one pan with you guys, and you guys get the idea. But speaking of Rachel Ray, she's got a really great way for kind of portioning everything. This is a little different because I use 2 pounds of meat, but if you use 1 pound, you can actually cut this into fourths with your fingers and make like a little cross in here, if you can see, probably not. And then you just grab that one part and it actually portions things out pretty well. Because I am kind of doing like a meal prep for when I go to work, I just get like a handful and I just plop it right in there. Now, again, it's not going to be like, it's going to be a little stickier again because the egg whites are not the same as breadcrumbs. This one's a little big. And then I just line these in here depending on the portion size or how big you want your hamburgers. Although they're chicken burgers. I would say you can probably get 6 or 4 per pan. I'm going to try to get 6 in there, and then I will put the other ones in the other pan. All right, and I'll just going to show you guys what again, you just take the gloves off when you are done. Boom, boom. Ta-da! The French manicure lives for another day. And this is kind of what this is going to look like. I know it doesn't look too great right now, but it will. You're going to want to finish prepping those, which I'm going to do. And then you're going to want to prep your oven for 380 is what I do. And I do 20 minutes, go back, pull them out, flip everything, another 20 minutes. And then I make sure that the internal temperature is over 165. And that's always just a surefire bet way that everything that you make is cooked. So you don't even have to question it. So I will finish prepping those other 2 pans. And I will show you how to flip things in a moment. Okay, so I just pulled these out of the oven. It's been 20 minutes. I just kind of wanted to show you for consistency purposes. I was able to get 10 out of those 2 pounds. And so you can see the consistency as a little piece breaks off the side. Still, without the breadcrumbs, it's not that bad. Everything is intact. The egg whites are doing their job. The old mother load here. Sorry, Rachel Ray, my portions were a little off because I added an extra pound, but you know, I'm busy. Okay, and I'm gonna put these in for another 20 minutes and then I'll bring my thermometer out, and don't look at this. I know it's a little repulsive, but it's on the list. We're gonna get some new oven mitts. Okay, you guys, we'll see you in 20. All right, guys, it's been 20 minutes and I'm getting out my old trusty digital thermometer. It's on Fahrenheit. And you're just going to put it in the center, and this is 166, which is over 65, so this is good. And, you know, just to be cautionary, you just want to make sure 172, 178, 183, so these are good. I could have gone under 40 minutes, but I feel like that's just a fair amount, 20 and 20. Oh, and one little thing. If you guys can get your hands on any kind of mustard that's got dill in it, it is like without the relish, all in a bottle. It's just a little taste of mom's extra love. So that's Michael T. Scafidi signing out for my first cooking recipe for you. And thank you for joining with me. And if I have more recipes, I'll share them with you. You can do wraps with these. Ross recommends the Egg Life, which you can find Also, and I'm sorry, Ross, if you're on a budget, there is also some low carb wraps for about half the price. However, the carbs are a touch higher in all fairness. But we'll see you guys soon. Ta-ta!